Good morning, everyone. I don't know about you, but I feel better about the future of journalism than I have in a long time after meeting those journalists of the year. One more round of applause for them, please. So PBS Charlotte has been working with the PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs for about 2.5 years as a really important part of our community engagement platform that we're working with. We have 3 schools, 2 in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system, urban schools, and 1 in rural Gaston County, and it has really been an important part of what we do to help serve the community. And I'm excited today to talk to not only teachers to see their perspectives, but to learn a little bit about how the NewsHour is making it all happen. So right now I just want to go down the line and hear your student reporting lab journey. Like, what brought you to SRL?
Okay, good morning. My name is Patrice again, and what brought me to SRL was a special invitation. I was actually not slated to join SRL, and a school called me and said, look, our school can't do it. Do you want to? I said yes. And that was 2014.
Her best yes. Marie.
I joined Student Reporting Labs about 6 months ago. I was a reporter covering energy and environmental issues at WITF in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And one day my editor said last spring, hey, can you go out with our drone, because I was the drone person, can you go film some stuff with some kids? And I was like, sure. I didn't really know what I was supposed to be doing. But we went to Centralia, Pennsylvania, which you may have heard of because it's been on fire underground. A coal seam was lit decades ago. So it's a ghost town in Pennsylvania. The students were filming a story there. I had an amazing day with them. It was just, they were asking so many questions. They were so engaged. And for me as a reporter, covering energy, environmental issues, climate change, as you heard from the students, it can be pretty depressing. And I was, in this ghost town in coal country, Pennsylvania, but I had such an amazing time. I thought, wow, this is like really uplifting, amazing. And then I saw this job posting and I joined the team, and that's how I got involved. It was just really amazing to work with the kids.
Help us understand how many kids and how many different schools you work with.
I just worked with that one school the one day because they said we need a drone. But then I helped them as the process went along, as they began editing the story. I gave feedback to them. I helped them dig up some archival photos from the state about what happened to the town. So for me, it was just like, wow, like I'm still covering this topic, but it's just such a breath of fresh air to work with young people, as you all know.
But how many different schools you have now that you're with SRL?
Okay. Yeah, so now that I'm a youth media producer with Student Reporting Labs, I work with about 30 schools around the country. So I work with our Pennsylvania schools, I work with our California schools, Oregon, North Carolina, Louisiana. So I am basically, when I can get there in person, I do. Otherwise, we use Google Hangouts, video calls, and I meet with the teachers and the students and give them feedback on their stories. They send us pitches. I respond on Google Documents, leaving comments on their pitches. They send us videos. I upload them and can leave comments on their videos. So it's just a really collaborative, really like hands-on approach to helping teachers and students across the country.
And from a station perspective, having someone like Marie, you do the heavy lifting with the students so that our station has an opportunity. We have journalists who are assigned to the schools, but they don't have to work on the day-to-day assignments. They go in and they consult and they give students an opportunity to come to our station and see live productions, but you're really doing a lot.
And there are 4 of us. So I'm one of 4 youth media producers. So we divvy up the labs around the country. So Eli, Bridget, Victor, we all work closely with the schools. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
So I want to hear Mitch's story, but what I love when I had the opportunity to chat with Mitch yesterday is Mitch was sort of Mr. No at his school before SRL came knocking. So tell us a little bit about your story, Mitch.
Well, this was in the fall of 2017. I received an email from someone at the admin building, and like most teachers, you don't read those. But I decided to this time, and they said that SRL is looking for a Loudoun County school. I'd been the newspaper teacher for 15 years, so I said, why not? I made a phone call, talked to a producer, Madeline, and 20 minutes later, she said, great, your SRL school will be there in 3 days. Hung up the phone, and I looked around the room, and I said, what? And 3 days later, they were out helping students, and I already started to see the impact, and it's been the best decision I've ever made in my career.
It's pretty awesome. You know, now we want to hear about how it's impacted your students. And so, Patrice, can you give us some examples of what you've seen from your student interactions?
Oh my goodness. My students have taken this opportunity and they've carried it on. I have students who graduated and went on, and they're still coming back like, are you still doing SRL? And I missed that. They've had the opportunity to meet people like Urban Magic Johnson, or interview Urban Magic Johnson and General Colin Powell, and they've taken this experience and then just gone on with it in different ways. So
That's great. Mitch, your stories.
It's really given students a voice. So much of what happens in school is dictated to them, but this is their pitches, their ideas, and they see it all through. I'm essentially their driver, and I carry their equipment, and Karen is my student, and I'm so lucky as a teacher that it's energized me, but just to see the confidence in students, it's been, I think, life-changing for them in the program.
Marie, because you get to work with such a broad group of students, I bet you've got a lot of stories about their impact as well.
Yeah, I think, we like to call them digital natives, and they have so many of these skills that we had to, use all this heavy equipment and take so long to learn. But now with technology, they know how to make videos, they know how to talk to each other on these social media platforms. But what's not always intuitive to them is to be a journalist and to think about, okay, well, what is your intention behind starting this YouTube channel or making a video to share with your friends? So I think what we can really offer them is to tell them, here's what journalism is, here's why it matters. You can elevate the voices of marginalized people. You can hold powerful people and institutions accountable. You can do this with all these cool videos you're already making, but just make them with intention.
So from a station perspective, and stations that work in public school districts probably realize it's not always easy to get into the public schools and work with them. But Mitch, I want to hear you tell us a little bit about how the administration sees this program now that you've had it going for a few years.
I'm very lucky that my administration allows me to go anywhere and everywhere whenever we need to for SRL. If I wasn't here now, I would actually be in hallway duty, trying to keep kids from walking around. But what's been great about it is it fits everything that school systems are talking about right now, whether it's project-based learning or personalized learning. We don't have to change anything. The SRL curriculum, the entire program fits into that, and we've become a highlight for the entire county. They advertise us more than I think any other program that I can think of.
And you shared with me, Mitch, that I think is really cool. Your students have been in the media themselves and had some stories about them told.
Yes, thanks to Karen and the other students that she works with, whether when they interviewed Tim Kaine or Greta Thunberg, and now with Karen as Student Journalist of the Year, we always reach out to our local media, and they've been featured in local papers quite a bit. So it's given them a chance to receive some more spotlight that they deserve.
Patrice, what have you seen from your administration about the program?
my administration is very supportive. They love the idea that we're working with PBS and SRL, always asking me what's going on, what's next. So they've always been by our side and been supportive of us in this program.
Okay, so that brings us to what's next. What do you guys see over the next 5 years with student reporting labs? And let's start with Marie.
Maybe we should ask Leah or Elise, but I think what we hear so often is like, hey, we want to be a lab, we'd love to have you in our school, or this should be in every school in America, which it should, because it's an amazing opportunity. But obviously, given our resources, we can't work with every school in America. So we're working hard to try to figure out ways that we can use new technologies, digital platforms, connecting teachers who already know what they're doing to each other, to teachers who want to bring this into their classroom. We're working hard to try to increase our reach.
That's great. Mitch.
Through SRL, I've actually been able to create a broadcast journalism program in my county. They'd never had a class, and now it's at 2 schools. We're expanding it. So even though not every school can be an SRL school with the curriculum online, with the prompts, and now with inspiring students and teachers, we're able to expand it a lot more quickly, I think, than what could have been possible in the past. But none of this would have been happening without SRL.
Patrice, your thoughts next 5 years?
Similar vision. I would love to see it expand all over my district and then go down to the middle school and maybe have the high school mentor middle school so that they can feed and grow, and then maybe go down to elementary.
That's a really exciting concept. And the students seem to like that too. So, and just seeing what we were able to see just a few minutes ago, that these young people, the poise that they have, their ability and excitement to want to share. I mean, that idea of going down to middle school and having the high school students be those mentors gives them leadership opportunities, as well as we're continuing to teach them to have strong civics skills. Did you guys see much civics education in your school districts before having student reporting labs? I mean, I know there's a class, but this is kind of real life stuff. Sorry, we didn't rehearse that question.
Nothing like this. Yes, you're right. There's a class, but nothing like this. The students I brought along with me today, they were actually like, oh, this is going to go really well with what we're talking about in my government class. And so now they're blending these two things and these ideas together, so that's exciting.
At my school, unless you're a senior, you don't get anything that is current. I had to explain to my freshmen what a primary was and how it worked, and they were just blown away. They were like, this really is happening now? And so it's really important to engage younger people in what is happening today, because a lot of school systems aren't concerned about that when it comes to state testing and standards.
And some of your students even interviewed current candidates for office.
Yes, last fall, one of the prompts was about the election. I challenged my students to always try to go above and beyond. And I said, we have some candidates who like to campaign locally. Go ahead and reach out and make it happen. Happened to be Tim Kaine and Corey Stewart. And my student must have sent about 15 to 20 emails, made about 20 phone calls, and we got to sit down with both candidates who gave us time. Corey Stewart gave us an hour at his home. It's a little weird, but it's okay. And then we got to go to a local event for Tim Kaine, and he gave us 15 minutes, and it was fantastic. It was great for them because it was all student-driven.
That's great. And, we're so concerned these days about fake news. What have you seen in speaking with the students, their understanding of the difference of fake news and because of SRL being able to recognize it, and now they're creating content that their other fellow students can rely on and expect? Patrice.
I've seen them do more fact-checking, not just believing the one source now and trying to, actually they just did the rapid response and how they find their news and online materials. So they have an awareness now that I appreciate, and I'm just so thankful that SRL has created this curriculum that we could help support that.
Marie, when you work with the students all over, I mean, is it hard to help them see all the fake news is out there, and are they energized to make a difference?
I actually sort of reject the term fake news because I think it's been really weaponized, and I think it's just propaganda has existed since the dawn of humanity, and now it has new outlets. I think we need to give students more credit as well, because I think yes, there are new platforms, there are new ways people are distributing misinformation and propaganda, but I think they're really smart. I think what we heard from them is that they just felt left out of the process, right? They thought that news was for grown-ups and it was something for their parents, and it wasn't something where people actually did listen to them a whole lot. So I think we're trying to combat that with Student Reporting Labs. We want them to know that we're not just here to teach you broadcast journalism skills. We're here to hear your voice. We want your voice on the news. We want older people hearing what you have to say. I think in our broader culture, not the people in this room, but we just tend to marginalize both young people and older people. And there's this sort of unspoken idea that only for a few decades in the middle of your life are you really supposed to be this active member of society. And I really hope we're trying to work to change that. But I do think the students, they're a lot sharper and savvier than we sometimes give them credit for.
Mitch, we were chatting also about the fact that not every student in your student reporting lab is going to pursue a degree in journalism. But you're still seeing a lot of really positive outcomes from this program. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, how it can apply to folks not looking for journalism degrees?
Absolutely. The skills that the students are learning through this, whether it be public speaking skills or even camera work, social media skills, we talk about how these apply in different areas, different fields, different professions, and I always tell students, it's okay to not know what you want to do. Like, you don't have to have your life planned out at 16 and 17. I certainly didn't, and I think most adults didn't, but there's this pressure on them to do that now. And so we always try to look at things through a lens of, like, what are the different areas that you could use this in? And it's not just for one spot, which is journalism.
So before we run out of time, I just want to give each of you an opportunity to sort of share that one nugget that you want all of the public media organizations across the country to be aware of when we're talking about student reporting labs. I'm going to start with Patrice.
One nugget, okay.
You can share two if you have them.
Two?
No worries.
Okay, okay. Oh, goodness. This matters. This matters. Thank you for helping us educators give our students a voice. And like you said, they want to be listened to. They want to be heard. They're smart. They're talented. They're creative. And so this matters. That's all I can really think of.
I would just say, having worked at 2 member stations before joining the team at Student Reporting Labs, there is such amazing work being done at member stations, but we need to keep in mind always that your whole reason for being is to serve the community, and that we can't just bask in the reflective glow of the amazing national PBS and NPR content. We have to be relevant to our own communities, and serving young people, engaging with young people as you're going to blink and they're going to be sitting there next to you at the office. So we need to make sure that we're still talking to them, engaging with them, hearing their voice, and yeah, I think.
I would just add that if you're a station that's not with student reporting labs, you need to do it. It is super important to empower young people at this age, and what they can bring to the table in collaboration with producers such as Marie is really powerful, and it's impactful.
So before we run out of time, I would just love for the team from the PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs to please stand up and let us recognize you on your 10th anniversary of making a huge impact. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd just like to leave you with this quote I heard recently. Life's not about what we do, but what we empower others to do. And as public media professionals, we have that opportunity to empower others to do extraordinary things. Thank you so much, and thank you to each of our panelists.